how are you?
Hey.
Jay Doe, nice to meet you.
Miss Fluke.
Cheryl Smith.
Jay Doe, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jay.
Mrs. Glass-Lumac.
I'm sorry?
Mrs. Glass-Lumac.
Glass-Lumac, nice to meet you.
Please have a seat.
Thank you.
All right. I think it's my turn to go first. I'm going to break the tradition of what we've been asking.
Great.
And I'm going to ask you, where's the one place on earth you never want to live?
I would never ever want to live in Vietnam, which is ironic because that's where my family comes from. My parents immigrated here from Vietnam, and I've had several opportunities to visit Vietnam, and I've come to the conclusion that I've never lived there just because I'm so accustomed to the way things are here in the States that Vietnam is such a drastic difference from it. Vietnam operates under a communist system of government, so every time that I'm over there, I have to watch what I say. I can't say anything criticizing about the government. The government there is easily bribed off. For example, when we get into the airports, in order to get through the security lines, we have to stuff our passports with American currency as a bribe to the officials just so they'll let us pass. And just based off experience, because that's where I've been, I'm sure there are worse places to live on the earth, but Vietnam is the place I know for sure that I would not want to live.
Thank you.
Jay, what is your definition of the American dream?
The American dream, again, going back to my family coming from Vietnam, I know what is limited in other countries, whereas here in America, the American dream to me is something that is the goal is the ability, the opportunities where if I want to make something of my life, whatever I want to do with my own life, so long as I'm willing to work for it, so long as I'm willing to put the effort forward to get it done, it can be achieved. There's nothing that's limiting me, whereas in other countries, the government might be limiting, or the financial situations might be limiting, maybe a limiting factor. Here in America, if I would like to pursue a career in, say, politics, I can go to school, I can take out the loans or have scholarships available for me to do that, just as long as I am willing to put up and do my share in getting my own visions accomplished and realized.
Okay. Can you tell us the difference between good and exceptional?
Yes. To be good would be to meet the standards required of you. Okay, you meet the borderline standards, you do what is expected. Whereas to be exceptional, you go above and beyond the expectations. You do what is not expected because that's what you want to do. That's who you are. That's what you're passionate about, right? Whereas, like for example, in class, in high school, or in the education system, we have the passing score 70% standard meets standards, and on standardized tests, there's always that bar that says, oh, standardized met standards, and then there's the next level, which is commended performance. And I think that's what we should all strive for, to be commended, to be exemplary at something, because without the struggle to achieve excellence, what is the source of our success anyways?
Okay. Tell me what you do for your leisure, what you do at home, what you do to relax.
I've been an avid pianist for, well, I'm just realizing how old I am at this point, but I've started piano 15 years ago this year, and that's always been an activity that I've enjoyed because it gives me a chance to just sit down and make some music. And when you're doing that, you concentrate so much on the instrument that you're playing. It doesn't give you a chance to think about everything else that's going on in your life, all the bad things that are going on in your life. You're just there, and for however long you're sitting there playing the piano, you just forget about everything else. And additionally, the piano is an activity that doesn't require that is not limited by any circumstances. When the power is out, when it's storming outside, I can't go anywhere. I can just sit at home, I can light a candle, and I can play a piano to pass the time.
All righty. What is one of your main weaknesses?
My main weaknesses is my pride and my ego. Okay, so for example, just this year, one of the goals that I had as a senior would be to win the senior student body election to become the senior student body president. For the past 3 years, building on top of that goal that I've had since freshman year, I've won every election leading up to this one. So naturally, I had expected that this year would have been, another landslide victory, another easy win, and then that would have been it. I had let that success get into my head, and then, as you know, content yields complacency. So my overconfidence in believing that I would have won this election led me to lose this election, and that was a very big setback for me. And that forced me to realize, hey, you can't let overconfidence, your pride, your arrogance get to your head, and you have to think about that kind of stuff when you're doing something like that.
Okay.
Is there a job that you never want to do?
Yes, a job that I never want to do would be to be a teacher, and because I understand just being a student how difficult it is for teachers. The expectations that are required of them, the pressure that they have to shape students, to shape the next generation of society, while getting paid very little comparatively to other nations for the work that they do. We, in America, we put a very high amount of stress and expectations on our teachers. We expect them to teach a certain amount of students who have a certain passing rate to meet a certain standards on a test. Like, that's their quote. That we don't compensate them for their time as we should. And as a student, I understand that. So I have all the respect in the world for our teachers, our staff that work in the education system, whether it be from elementary school through high school and then through college. I admire the work that they do to shape our future. That is something that I would never, ever want to do.
Thank you. Excellent. Now, I'm going to turn it around on you.
Okay.
Okay? Without mentioning a name, just tell me why. The worst teacher you ever had. What made that person the worst?
Right. So you just heard my expectations on what makes a good teacher. They're dedicated to their students, their job, and that's what makes a teacher great. They understand that, I'm not getting paid, I'm not doing this job for the high salary, I'm doing this because of what it entails. I'm helping to shape the next generation. Well, the worst teacher that I had, unfortunately, did not have that mentality. She, at one point, even said, "This is my paycheck, so it does not matter to me whether or not you pass or fail." To me, that destroys the point of being a teacher in the first place. As the old saying goes, if you do what you love, then you're never working a day in your life. Well, for her, that may have been a paycheck to her, but for me, this is the future. This is my future, and this is the future of my nation, my country. So I didn't think that it was fair for her to come to work as a teacher just for a paycheck.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, Mrs. Glassnomi. Thank you, Mrs. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Blue.
All right, would you like to have a seat?
Please.
I get to start?
Yes.
Cool. I always love your thoughtfulness. I like your insights. Your responses are well thought out, and at the same time I have a certain amount of spontaneity, or I'm thinking on my feet, and it doesn't sound rehearsed. I believe that's what I'm trying for. So many who come in as well prepared as you do sound like they're reading from a script, and you don't give that. You give the personal aspect of it. And my only criticism would be your eye contact
Right.
still isn't quite
Okay.
Just
what it
moving
needs to
it.
be.
That's the only thing I have also. Just roaming, a little bit. Because it's just you're shy. You can see that you're a shy person, but at the same time, speaking to audience, you have to let them know, I can see all of you. By just going back and forth comfortably.
Okay.
And that's like you're rocking, you're like, and you still could pursue your responses.
That's right.
That's the only thing I had to do is eye contact. It's just like I said, you're like me, you're shy. You don't look at people very much. You kind of try to not look at people. I don't look at people. Did I ever look at you? No, I don't.
Just the same thing, your eye contact.
That's it.
Your posture is excellent.
Yeah, the chair didn't trick him either.
Mm-mm.
He just turned it like
Very
this.
came right to the side.
Your
Your
sometimes
posture
people
is
swivel.
excellent. Your tone,
Yeah.
your volume.
And his gestures.
Yeah, you use
It
just
goes
enough
with
hand
it.
gestures,
Just enough.
not to be over dramatic. I love the examples that you give
Yeah.
to support your answers. This is your senior year. You say, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm going all the way to
Right.
the top. So just work on your eye
Yes,
contact.
ma'am.
And everything, I mean, he judges, you address us by name, I mean, you're doing
Excellent.
everything for what you're supposed to do.
To help you with your eye contact, okay? You made eye contact with me a great deal because I'm in the center.
Right.
All right. That's easy to do, is to just look at one person. You might want to start with looking at the person who gives you the answer, who asked you your question.
Okay.
Look at me. I asked you the question. Then, what you're not realizing is that we are one person. By breaking eye contact with me, I am not offended because you are looking at her eyes. Now, if you break eye contact with me to look at the ceiling or the floor, then that's not good. But you're not breaking eye contact with a person. You're breaking eye contact with a part of an entity. And if it makes you feel better, okay, break the eye contact with me, direct the next 2 sentences to her. Tell her the next couple of sentences. And then when you're winding it down, come back to the person that originally asked you the question. And that will give you closure, and it will close what you're saying.
That's
You
right.
might want to try that.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
might help with the eyes. But it was a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Was there something you wanted to ask us?
No, ma'am. I appreciate all the feedback.
Okay?